Hey YouTube, alright, I've got this CD DVD drive that was in my sister's computer and she said it doesn't work. I'm assuming it doesn't open. And I opened up the PC. It was loaded with, the case was loaded with dust, which most computer cases are. So if you're ever working on a PC, you should always open up the case, try to vacuum everything out. Be careful, make sure you unplug the power cord. But there's an enormous amount of dust that is in almost every PC because the fan sucks it in from the front to the back, and it causes problems with overheating and other situations. So you want to vacuum the inside of your case. I've already posted a video on how to open up a CD DVD drive just so you can see what's in there and maybe attempt to fix it. But this is just going to be a really simple, quick video. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't. I don't know. I'm taking a chance. This is an IDE interface. This is the older style that older computers use. The new ones are the SATA, which is a completely different connector. And she bought a SATA drive, but didn't buy the conversion board. I've also got a video posted on how to install IDE to SATA conversion board if you want to watch that. So I'm going to try to open this thing up, see if there's a lot of dust in there, which I'm assuming there is. There is usually a lot of dust in these drives. Sometimes you can fix them or clean them up. Other times it's an absolute waste of time, or you end up doing more damage just trying to get the case open. So this was in an HP computer. You can see these are the mounting screws that most of these OEM companies will install to slide into the rails. So I'm going to remove these 4 screws. You can see these are on the bottom holes. Some of them are on the top holes. So just maybe put a marking or piece of tape so you remember where it's at. So I'll be removing these 4 screws, and then on the bottom, these are the screws that will hold on the case, the top. There is a warranty label over here which will come apart, or I'll cut it with a knife. Sometimes when you remove the top cover, it is still attached into this front bezel and it doesn't want to come out easily, but I will continue the video in a minute. The first things I'm going to do is remove these 4 screws and then go on the bottom and remove the 4 screws there, and then I will continue. One thing to be aware of, this looks like it's a Phillips screw, but it really isn't. It's a Torx, T-O-R-X screw. So if you have a Torx set, fine. If you don't put a Phillips in there because chances are you will spin this thing and strip it. But it does have one line, one area where you can put in a flat blade screwdriver, and you might have to do that to remove it. If that doesn't work, well, it's working because they don't normally torque these down tight. If it is torqued down tight and a flat blade is not working, then go get a Torx screwdriver set. You will use it your whole life on almost every auto or piece of electronics that's out there today. I've removed the 4 screws on the edges, on the sides, and the 4 screws on the bottom. So let me break this little sticker void warranty label over here. Hopefully this is just going to pop out. When you work on stuff like that, like this, take your time, be careful, go slow, look at what you're doing, wear magnifiers if you need to see what's holding things together or what's stopping you from doing what you need to do. You can see this little tab over here, this tang that is probably holding on this front bezel, and it might be the reason why this doesn't want to come out. There are also little pieces on the front where the bezel, as you can see, is being held in to the sides, so I might have to use a screwdriver and press in on those to remove the bezel so that I can remove the front cover. And let me go look at that now and see. Alright, I'm trying to do this on my knees while I'm on the floor so that I can get a good video thing. You can see that when I press in here, it moves, it goes in, it depresses a little bit. That is the front bezel cover. And you can really break the cover. You can totally screw this whole thing up. But if it's not working, then that's okay. So there's one on each side, and there's one on the bottom that you're going to have to press and slowly work it out, unless you've got somebody with 3 hands. then you're just going to have to take your time and be patient to get this front bezel out before the top cover comes out. You can see that it is working its way out at the top. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. You just saw it. Okay, so it's working its way out at the top and the sides. That's why you want to go slow. Don't pull, don't pry, don't press hard. Take your time, be patient. And the sides are now removed and the bottom is removed, so it's just being held by this little piece on the top, this tang, and so you got to be careful as you remove that. And then I'm going to remove the top cover and show you what's inside. Now you can see that I ended up pulling out the door. There's a little hole on the front if you need to. If you can't grab onto the door, you should be able to though. There's a little hole in the front where you can put in a paper clip and press and the door will shoot out. And you need to do that so that you can get this thing to move out. And you have to do a little prying inside here to remove this. This is what you're doing. You can see there's a little hole there. And that hole snaps over this thing. This piece drops down inside and holds the top cover on. So I don't know if this is going to come off now. This is why these are really hard to work on, because everything sticks together and you could probably do a lot of damage and ruin it. And when you get everything apart, this is what you end up with. The top is off, the bottom is off. Again, be really careful. You don't want to put your fingers on this and blow out the circuits. Are really not a lot of user repairable parts in here. There is a belt. I'm going to take off this cover in a minute. There is a belt that you can work on. My main interest is seeing if there's a lot of dust in here, if the belt is all gummed up. The belt allows this door to go in and out, and I just want to clean it up a little bit. It might work, it might not. Usually these things don't break, except for the door doesn't open. Sometimes the laser goes out, but rarely. So that's how you open one of these CD, DVD drives to work on it, if you want to. And if it's broken, there's really no reason not to do this. It might help you learn how to work on things. These two screws on the top are a T9. This is a Torx. Hopefully the camera will show what it is. It's kind of like a star top. It's not an Allen head. It's not a hex head. It's a star top, a star shape. That's a hex. That's a Torx head. And that's a T9. T9s and T8s and T7s are what you normally use to take apart a hard drive. And you can see that when the tool goes in, all right, it went in here. When the tool goes in, it should not wobble around. It should be a nice, tight fit. If it's wobbling, you've got the wrong Torx tool. The top is off, and this is what's inside. You can see a lot of mechanical stuff. I think you can see the belt over there. As I mentioned, I really just want to blow out the dust, which I don't know if there's much in here. Subscribe if you want. Link all my videos to anything you want. I would appreciate that. It helps me out. Do a thumbs up, subscribe, go to my channel page, click on the support this channel link, and donate all you can to help me if you want to. And thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you out. The tricky part is closing it up. There's a little tang on here. You got to kind of slide this case on from the back and then tilt it a little bit on one side to get this to go together. Just take your time, look at what's going on, look at why it's not going together. Once everything's closed up, make sure that this front bezel is snapped into this opening here on the side and the bottom and the top. It might look like it's on, but it really needs to be seated so that these pieces snap back into the holes and it snaps back in on the top. Now I'm going to take the 4 screws, I'm going to put them in on the bottom, and then I'm going to put the rail screws in on the sides and then mount it in the PC and see if anything happens. I just powered up the PC. The drive shows as installed, which it showed before. Now I'm going to try to open up the door and see what happens. Okay, let me press the button and see if it opens up. And it does not open up. It doesn't even have light showing that there's power to it. So the drive is totally shot, and it's time to install a new one. And that is the end of the video. I believe there's enough lighting in there. You can see the IDE cable and the power cable. And now I'm going to show you a SATA drive connector. That is a SATA drive connector. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the SATA drive, DVD drive, the new drive in there. I'm going to install, it's inside this package, I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to install a IDE to SATA conversion board, which you can buy for like $10 or something. And then I will connect this board to the IDE cable, and it will plug into the back of the SATA connector over here, and then we should have a new drive that works in the computer. I think the lighting is good now to be able to see the conversion board. Normally on the old drives, they were metal backing. It was a metal case. This is a plastic back, so you don't really have to worry about the circuit board over here shorting out to the back. I've got the power cord from the computer that used to go into the DVD drive. It's now plugged into the power receptacle of the board. I've got the IDE cable plugged into the IDC connector, and then the board plugs into the SATA connector of the DVD drive. So now I'm going to power everything up and see if I get a working drive. You can see there's a red light coming from the board. You got to be careful with these. I bought 3 of these boards. One of them was completely burned out when I bought it. Easily replaced. They sent me a new one 2 days later. Sometimes these boards burn up. If you're using XP, you might have to change, or even Windows 7, you might have to change the settings when the computer boots up that a new drive's been installed. So let's see what happens now. Windows detects that it's a CD drive. Rather odd that it's not showing it's a DVD drive, but it does show that there's a CD drive in there. This was going on before, so let's see if we get the door to open. You can see there's a little power light over there, so obviously something's working. The door is opened, and I just put a DVD inside the unit, so if something pops up, then that means this repair was done for just the cost of a conversion board and the DVD drive. Let's see what happens. I've got a DVD in the drive, and as you can see, the drive is now working, and it is detecting what is in there, and that is the end of the video now. Everything seems to be working.